All right, man, let's talk about ZB Bickerstaff. We did an interview with Richard Jefferson on his YouTube channel, The Road Trip. What's so funny now? It's like, for you to be on TV, it seemed like a lot of these companies make you have a podcast. You know what I'm saying? So, I think, Shannon Sharp is the best example of that. They made him launch a podcast. He ended up spawning two podcasts. It was Club Shay Shay. And I guess they let him have creative control over that. Did Nightcap with Ocho Cinco and Gilbert Arenas. And they both have took the internet by sensation. And now he even been allowed to keep his podcast. You know what I'm saying? He's been allowed to even keep his podcast. So they did the same thing with Skip Bayless. Like Fox allowed him to keep his podcast. And now, Richard Jefferson, they like him a lot on ESPN. He's interviewed Tim Duncan. That was a good one. So the whole, ESPN, analyst thing, I think a lot of them got to have their own podcast. So I think that's part of the deal. I think Jalen kept his, Jalen Rose. So I think it's interesting. Now you start to see current professional athletes get a podcast. I don't like that version of it, though. With guys, current players like Paul George and Draymond Green, and then, like I said before, most of these dudes already been raised by women, so they already naturally chatty patties. So they get out here and, and Michael Parsons, I like his podcast. I like all three of their podcasts. I just don't think players that's currently in the locker room should have a podcast. Y'all talk too much already. Telling personal business and giving the inner workings. A lot of locker room to be sacred. From little league all the way to professional. Locker room is sacred. What goes on in the locker room should stay in the locker room. That's just how I feel about it. What goes on in the locker room should stay in the locker room. But just my opinion on it. But nonetheless, he basically said he took the job. He said he was planning on taking the year off, but he said the job was a no-brainer. He says that basically he feel comfortable developing young talent. He liked the roster. He feel comfortable, and it's his wheelhouse to develop young talent. That's what he want to do. So, and that's what you hear. He wants to develop young talent. He wants to be with a young basketball team. And you should, to be honest. The NBA is young. It's a very young league. And on top of that, not only is it young, when you get into a veteran locker room, it's a little bit more, you can't really put your stamp on it. You here just to take us to the next level. You here just to steer the wheel and not crash it or add a little bit of something that we missing. I think one of the things that Larry Brown added to the Pistons when he came and took over for Rick Carlisle was a little bit more structure on how the minutes is going to be structured, how he was going to allocate minutes and lineup. So he basically had them on a structured, especially during the regular season, he had them on a schedule. What rotation you going to play in, when you going to clock out, when you going to do this, that, and the third. So he kind of managed the team a little bit better than Rick Carlisle did. That was it. He brought a little bit more management, a little bit more technical things, play the right way. You could think about when Miami went from Holland Snellenberger in football, they went to Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, Snellenberger, he was known for bringing that pro-style Miami Dolphins offense to college football. Guess what? Jimmy Johnson brought a pro-style defense when he got there. So just things like that is you can add, to a younger team and in a younger, or a veteran can add also to an older team. So you just did assist with a younger team. Guess what? I can put my full imprint on there. I can raise these kids. I can groom these kids. I'm more likely to get them to show them how to play the right way, how to play the way I want them to play. You get in a veteran locker room, it's almost so much wiggle you can do. Like Mike Malone with Denver. He raised them kids. So, it feel like them his kids. You come into a, older locker room, you seem like you're a substitute teacher. So with a younger team, guess what? You can figure out who come, who go, how we gonna fit this, how we gonna mold this, and that's probably why he got the jobs, because he wanted to develop. This is what he was good at, developing young. And the only bad thing about it is, when you good at developing, can you take them to the next level? Will you be afforded the time? Or they gonna say, well, this is as far as you can take you. Now we gonna bring in the Steve Kerr. Now we gonna bring in the Larry Brown. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to bring in somebody, after you did all the groundwork, we're going to bring in, a John Gruden to get the Bucks to the championship, without Tony Dungy. Now somebody gonna come in, and after all the work and the years you laid down, the foundation you laid down for the franchise. Now, guess what? Now somebody else gonna come in and get that done. So it is unfortunate, honestly. It's really unfortunate that happened. So that's really only bad side to it. But he should be afforded the time to do so. So yeah, he want to do it. I would love to see him do it. I'm always rooting for the brothers, and always rooting for the Pistons. So I think it's a good deal. I think he seemed to be a good guy for the coach. I mean, Cleveland, he did the same thing. He took Cleveland from the basement, put it together. They came up short in the playoffs because Donovan Mitchell got injured. There was some rumors that Mitchell didn't like him, so he had to go. So, I mean, I just don't understand that. That's one of the things I can't stand about my people, the brothers, the black people. We so quick to get each other. If that's true, we so quick to, throw each other up under the bus instead of come to a compromise. But we'll see. We shouldn't be getting nobody fired. We should be, making sure we get the bag, making sure we win together, we lose together, making sure we're together. But that's the NBA now. These young players don't like the way you coach them hard, or you don't let them get away with nothing. I don't want to be in Cleveland no way, so it's my way or the highway. I'll leave. And the owner like, oh no, we can't lose the talent. We're not gonna get equal trade value for him. We can't lose him, so let's get rid of the coach and make him happy. There you go. So be it. But nonetheless, I feel him. Cater to your players. But him wanting to be here and do the job, and most people kind of looking at Monty and don't seem like he was here in the physical form or the spiritual form. He was here in the physical form, but not the spiritual form. So who knows? Who knows? But it didn't like he really wanted to be here, and I think a lot of people like, oh nah, we good on old Monty, old box Chevy Monty. So we good on it. But me personally, that's what we need. A guy that's gonna develop, and maybe they can learn to grow with each other and get to the next level with each other. So maybe that's what they can do. So Pistons and JB Bickerstaff. So I like what he's speaking, but we all can love what he's saying now. Just like Monty was saying in the whole handshake photo with Cade Cunningham. But come the season, they losing games, he's still gonna be loved. Is the question. So he's still gonna be able to write that shit. But even in Cleveland, he know what it is to lose and go through the ups and downs, and a lot of the downs with a young team. So thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live drop video. Financially, want to support the channel. Cash App $CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link description. Peace.